not worried about anybody but you. He wants to take care of America. He's tired of seeing us get ripped off. I think he's trying to rip us off more because he's made a career out of doing it.
In what way is he trying to rip us off? To me, there's no rule, no law. It's just something somebody dreamed up. Well, I'll release my taxes.
Well, there is definitely.
He does not need to release his taxes. It doesn't matter to me what he makes.
But it's tradition.
You may be right that there's not an actual
tradition. Let's start out. Please introduce yourself, starting from this side. Who you are, what your lean is.
My name's Lane. I would categorize myself as progressive. I like Bernie Sanders. He's my prime choice for candidate. I also like Andrew Yang and a couple of the other ones as well. But Bernie is definitely number one.
All right, cool. Please.
My name is Phocian. As you can see, I'm elderly. I've been around, and I don't particularly like Trump, but as the competition unfolds, he's the only choice for someone like me.
Would you call yourself a conservative? Do you vote Republican?
I'm not conservative in some areas, liberal in others. It depends on what you're talking about.
Okay.
We were talking about gun control earlier. I definitely believe in universal background checks. I think it's a necessity. And that goes contrary to a lot of conservative views.
Yeah.
So in that case, I may be a liberal. I don't think so. I think it makes common sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about that. Both of you guys agree with that, but what does that actually look like? What are we looking for in this universal background check? What should be the
I can tell you, I mentioned to Lane a little while ago, I bought my first pistol in 1968. I had to wait 3 days to get it. And I don't know what they did.
Wow, they had the
3
3-day
days.
hold.
I'm sorry?
They had the 3-day hold.
3-day hold. And I don't see anything wrong with that today.
Right.
It takes 3 days to do a background check. Take 3 days. If it takes 5, you take 5. But make sure that if someone's going to pick up a weapon that can harm me, you, Lane, or anybody else, make sure they're capable and qualified, and not some schizo that's going to come out.
Capable and qualified. Mm-hmm. So should
Qualified
we make people
mentally, yeah.
Qualified mentally?
And with a criminal background, we don't want felons running around.
You don't want felons.
Neither
of you?
If anybody needs to have a gun in 24 hours, I don't want that person to have a gun.
Right, but at the same time, if I'm mad enough to shoot you now, I'm most likely mad enough to shoot you 5 days from now.
You may cool down.
Right. I might, right?
Right.
You might realize how you don't want to go to prison forever, or maybe your plans are foiled before then. I mean, I've heard stories of
plans
the
are foiled.
FBI or whatever the law enforcement agency stopping terrorist attacks of people who are going to do a shooting or something, and they stop that, and that's obviously good.
It seems like everybody feels the need to tell somebody they're about to do something that they should never have told anybody.
Well, they put it on
right?
Facebook.
Like every time.
They put it on the internet.
A lot of people just want the attention.
That's true.
I've seen other videos of people kids getting arrested for doing that, posting videos on Facebook or posts or messages threatening to go into school the next day, and then cops show up at the door and says, no, you can't do this, and they arrest the kid. And I almost feel bad for the kid, but it's like, dude, you can't joke about that. You can't joke about that.
Right. You have to learn. You have to learn what's okay and what's not okay. Still.
Yeah, you could still be like kids.
Well,
are
you
just
don't
dumb.
know whether the kid's
dumb.
serious or not.
Exactly, and
so
then next thing you know, you can't joke about that.
No,
I mean, because
you
next thing you know,
kids
are shot.
Should they charge them? Because they are charging them now. Like if you make a threat to a school,
they locked up one down here a day before yesterday.
Well, it's like
should they charge them?
A kid,
but that kid's threatening to go to a school and shoot his other fellow children.
I'm saying if there was no actual true intent, right? Like they didn't even have access to a gun. They just were on Facebook, threatening somebody or.
To me, it does not matter.
Okay. I like to say that I'm a free speech absolutist, but even that is a thing you have to relax a little bit. You can't just I'm gonna go shoot blah blah blah, and there has to be some limits, and they should be charged, because we don't know if that is the next Sandy Hook or the next Parkland,
or so many of you.
How many of them do there have to be? And maybe they're just stupid kids who should have said the wrong thing and should have bit their lip a little bit, but you can't take the words back once they're out. You can't put the toothpaste back, and a lot of people are dead every day because of it, and you can't be taken lightly. So should they be charged? Yeah.
Do both of you agree in felons not owning firearms? in not owning a firearm. A felon not allowed to have a firearm.
I do
You
not
said you
think a
don't want
felon should have a firearm because he's already committed a crime, and generally a felon's going to do it with some sort of weapon. So why should you put a gun back in his hand to go do it again?
You agree with that?
Instinctively, yeah, I think that felons having guns lets criminals, felons are criminal, felons are criminals, yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe they're just trying to have a second chance and be a normal person. And do they need a gun? Probably not. I don't. And I'm the liberal one.
Are you willing to take the chance on that?
No, I'm not. I think it's fair enough to say that the
that
felons
kind of
can't
brings
have a gun.
up two issues, though, right? One, if they're a felon, one way or another, they've paid their debt to society based on our standard of whatever crime.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is you bring up that, they're a criminal, they're a felon, why would we put a gun back in their hands? You can be charged for a felony that's completely non-violent.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Like, you late filing your taxes.
That's why if you have a
it's
check
technically a
background
felony.
check, you can weed these people
But I'm
out.
saying, figuring out, not all felons are actually like violent people,
Agreed.
right? He didn't pay his taxes for a year. That's technically, you can be charged with a felony.
Very smart.
Give him a gun, go to send for the IRS. Sorry.
So no, it's all right. So where do we draw that line, right? Because if you have to paint a hard line, especially in the Second Amendment, right? And people argue, obviously, then you start the snowball effect. So then they can start censoring the First Amendment.
Well, I kind of look at it like this. You have a right to bear arms. You have a right to drive a car. If you do something wrong, you may lose that right to bear arms. If you drive drunk, you lose that right to drive. So I don't know. It's a give
In
and
principle, they actually don't lose the right to drive, but
they'll drive anyway, just like the fella may go out and get a little illegal weapon.
they just pay some money and they can continue driving. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go up to 5 DUIs, right? Something like that before. Melissa, do you know? You work at a bar.
I don't really know.
I'm not
that.
saying you're a
There's
specialist.
different tiers. Like with one tier, you lose your license for X amount of time. Second tier, you have to get a breathalyzer in your vehicle for a year. It's different. I think after 4, I think you're done.
You're done after 4.
Yeah.
I know a guy who had 3 DUIs, has lost his license for 5 years. Good. He doesn't need to drive.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he's picking up bodies up and down these highways every morning of people
Right.
drunk.
Yeah. I mean, I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. We have obviously a lot of our bars don't close.
Yeah.
I've never seen a place till I moved here that
The bar
a
closed.
bar closes.
Bar closes.
Like
That's crazy.
I have been running out of bars.
Right. What's your take on Trump right now? You said you're
My
not
take on
necessarily
Trump
a fan.
is he has been and is continuing to be harassed by the liberals. I think it's uncalled for. He's done a good job, and as far as I'm concerned, he's the only candidate for 2020.
Ooh, he dropped 2020 in there.
Oh man.
Are you paid? Right? Didn't that sound like a 2020
It
campaign?
was a push.
It was pretty good.
It's all right. I'm going to say it's going to be Bernie in 2020 anyway, so it balances out. I think it. I don't think it. That the guy could obviously, or he could be any more of an obvious con man and a fraud. And the one that I can't get past is he won't release his taxes, and he said that he would love to release his taxes several times, and I can't see the justification on supporting the guy, because I can't wrap my mind around the fact that he has been in trouble for fraud a bunch of times. The whole Trump University lawsuit where he had to pay out $25 million in fraud for his scam university that he ran, and just the fact that he won't be transparent with his taxes. It's always been the one thing that I mean, people say that he's a billionaire, he's not worried about anybody but you, he wants to take care of America, he's tired of seeing us get ripped off, but I think he's trying to rip us off more because he's made a career out of doing that.
In what way is he trying to rip us off? To me, there's no rule, no law. It's just something somebody dreamed up. Well, I'll release my taxes.
There is definitely.
He does not
That is
need
true.
to
There
release
is-
his
there
taxes.
is
It doesn't
no-
matter to me what he makes.
But
You
it's
know,
tradition.
You may be
sorry.
right that there's not an actual
it's
law.
tradition. There's not an actual law.
It's traditions that handle impeachment a different way, but they're handling it different. So, it's give and
touche.
take.
Touche.
I have no problem with him if he never releases income tax. It's none of my business.
That's what I would
I
also
disagree.
ask.
I think
What
it's
would we
absolute-
learn from it?
I think it's absolutely our business because he is a public servant. He is everybody's
yeah.
president. He is the president of the United States. He's not the president of the Republican Party. He's the president of everybody. So I want
And they
to
should
know.
treat him that way.
Well, whether or not I treat him that way, otherwise, he's still the president. He's still my president, whether or not I like him. And you're not. And you don't have to like the president. This is America. We don't. We're not. It's not
Agree.
500 years ago. You know, we're allowed to not like somebody and tell people we don't like somebody.
Right.
But I lost my train of thought now. What was I saying?
You were talking about taxes.
Taxes. Yeah.
What are we gonna learn from it?
From
even
his
if he
taxes?
releases
What
it?
his at? Let's say he owned X amount of stake in a Saudi Arabian oil company.
Okay, that's what you wanna look at.
or pick anything. Pick
That would
an
be
African
public
coffee
knowledge.
company.
It has nothing to do with his taxes. That
Yes,
is
it
public
does,
knowledge.
because we need to know what his assets are and what his incentives are. And if he is driving policy that's going to help make his Saudi Arabian oil field business that he's a quarter partner in, if that's going to make an extra percent because of his policies that he's implanting, or if he owns whatever, pick a Thai manufacturer in Turkey or whatever. Now he owns a Thai factory in Turkey. Well, is his policy towards Turkey going to be shifted slightly because he's going to make a few extra dollars off of his Turkey business? These are all questions
Lane,
that
those
should
are
ask.
weak arguments.
No, they're not.
Yes, they
no,
are
they're
very
not.
weak. It has
They're not.
nothing to
He
do
can
with
craft
running
his
this country.
Yes, it does,
No.
because the policy that he crafts will affect his pocket and not the welfare and the general population.
So what that will actually circle us around. You say it has nothing to do with running the country. He says it does, and it actually mirrors our problem with what we had with Ukraine. So we're talking about impeachment. We're talking about the president and
Talk about
Ukraine. That
Ukraine.
was the issue. Is
That-
that the president was
Trump owns nothing in Ukraine. That was the Bidens. Now,
No, I'm saying what the U.S. did, right? We've gone in and tried to pull out the corruption in Ukraine, right? We said we'll come in, we'll be the savior, we'll help everybody out, we'll get rid of the old president, the old, prosecutors and inspection bureaus and all these people, right? We said we'll set it up because the president was basically embezzling money through government contracts or doing things that behooved him and his friends. He's saying that, well, he believes that Trump is doing that same thing here, right?
well, we know what they were doing in Ukraine. We don't have any clue whether Trump's actually doing anything illegal
But that's
or
what
not.
he's saying. He wants to
I
find
want
out.
transparency, and I want to know if. And Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm because the Republicans said there could be, not even there is, but there could be a potential conflict of interest with foreign governments giving you money via your peanut farm. Take that, times it by 1,000, and give somebody an international chain of hotels and golf courses.
Right.
I mean,
And
come
he is
on.
having foreign dignitaries stay at Trump Tower.
But see, the things you're talking about are all public knowledge as far as owning these buildings and owning Trump Towers.
We
and all
don't
this.
know
They
what
are
he
public.
owns or not because he won't release this information.
Tax returns have nothing to do
Tax
with
returns
what
will
he
show
may
what his
own
assets
from a
are and what
hotel.
his money
No,
that
that's
he's
public
making off
knowledge.
Well, if it's public knowledge, then why would he release them?
Because it's public knowledge. You can go find it anywhere.
If
don't
it
have
was
to
public
not be
knowledge,
reflected
then
as
there wouldn't be the
taxes.
controversy of him not releasing them.
Well,
All right, so let's go to the impeachment conversation, right?
Mhm.
You're in? Sounds like you'd be in favor of the impeachment
Yes, I would.
for the reasons of what they're saying, or just strictly because you want Trump out.
all right. Well, I don't think that they should just impeach the guy because I don't like him. I mean, I obviously don't like him, and I think he's a demonstrable fraud. And but that's the other side likes him, and that's not a good reason to get rid of a duly elected president just because I don't like him. But he absolutely broke the law on more than one occasion. He's trying to get foreign governments, Ukraine and China, to interfere in our election. It's the same thing that he got in trouble for with Russia, looking for the no collusion with Russia, because he did the thing with Ukraine and China that he was suspected of doing with Russia. So he goes on live TV and asks the Chinese government to investigate Joe Biden. He does the quid pro quo.
Ukraine government.
No,
China.
they're different ones.
Yeah.
They're both different. You're right. He did with Ukraine too. He goes on Ukrainian TV, or not Ukraine TV. He goes on TV in the White House lawn and asks China to investigate the Bidens, which he didn't call up President Ping and do the same, but he's talking to them via the White House lawn. He's addressing the world as the president, which he should watch what he says.
Was
a
it
little
really
bit
sarcastic though? It was kind of like.
Is that? I don't know if that's a good thing. If that's justifiable.
I'm not saying
because he's
I'm
the
not
president.
saying it justifies it.
He's not a comedian telling jokes and trying to get a laugh. He's supposed to be serious at all times. You're the president. This is serious business, not he's telling jokes, he's being funny.
We talk about being serious and not joking around. That's what the Democrats are doing with this whole impeachment process. It's been a sham and a joke.
Why is it a sham and a joke?
Because they have no ground.
Yes, they do.
No, they do not. The fact that there was, in that conversation, there was no quid pro quo, whatever it was.
No, there was. There was not.
Did you read the same transcripts I read? No,
I'm not giving you
all.
the money until you do the thing that I want.
No.
And the thing that I want is for you to do
look,
this.
yeah. Technically, he did not tell him on the phone, right?
He did
that
not.
I'm not releasing the money. Technically, at the time of the phone call, the Ukrainian president didn't even know that the aid wasn't released.
That's right. He did not know.
Right?
That's
So
gonna
on the
come out in
technical
second
aspect,
conversation he's fixing
but
to release tomorrow.
Do I have to technically tell you that for really it to be a quid pro quo, or for me to be playing a game, right?
In technical terms and following the law, absolutely. I mean, you can suppose and put supposition and everything else in these conversations. It's what the Democrats are
Even
doing.
though both ambassadors knew that was the deal, right?
No.
What? No. They both knew what the deal was. The Ukrainian ambassador to us met with
From
our
hearsay.
ambassador.
From hearsay.
No, the
Yes.
two of them talked. Those two are not hearsay. What they say happened on the phone call is hearsay, right? Because they weren't privy to the actual
Right,
phone
so they're
call.
making something up. This is where this whole
Okay.
impeachment thing comes from, is because somebody, the whistleblower, said, you got to look at this.
So you
because
think
he
Ambassador
did it."
Taylor is making up that
I'm not
he
saying
was
he's
told
making it up, but he has no firsthand knowledge of it. He got it from an aide. Where's the aide? Let's talk to the aide. Let's get it all out.
So you think they should bring the
personally, let me
whistleblower
tell you,
out?
I don't care if he held the aide because of investigating the Bidens.
Well, you
wow.
absolutely should.
You
Because
don't
that's
care.
That's the illegal thing that he's being impeached on.
No.
That's
Here's the deal.
problem.
The president's job is to find corruption wherever it may lie and fix it. There's corruption in the Ukrainian government. I'm going to hold the $400 million or whatever it was to find out where this money's going to go. If it's going to go to the oil company or if it's going to go to here and there, we need to know that, and that's what, in my mind, what he's getting at. It's not the fact that he's not worried about Biden in an election. He can crush him.
He can crush him.
He maybe could. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Joe Biden has default default Democrat support because they don't really know as
got
much.
nobody else.
They're not plugged into the politics as much. They just like, oh, I guess I've heard of Biden before, so I guess go Biden.
I really think they're doing it because the party is so fractured and split. They actually don't know what Democrats want. And I think half the time, Democrats don't even know what Democrats want.
They know exactly what they want, but the
Socialism,
problem
yeah.
is, well, we'll get to that in a second. They know exactly what they want is what the people want is Bernie Sanders. But you know who doesn't want that?
The Clintons.
The Clintons, the corrupt Democratic machine that is nothing but
DNC?
a bunch of corrupt, criminal, career politicians who have looted our country dry for the last, what? I don't even know how long. The last 30, 40, 50 years?
At least 50, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had nothing but corrupt, disgusting Democrats for forever.
That's
And
the
then
definition of politician being corrupt.
Yep.
to me.
People.
Definition of
people
a
hate
politician.
corrupt politicians, but that's why.
Being a lawyer and being corrupt, yeah.
Right.
That's why you know who's not corrupt. My boy Bernie and my girl AOC. They don't take any money from these big companies,
Agree, he
these big
does not.
millionaires and billionaires. So they're not open to their persuasion. They're not going to put in politics. The reason everyone hates the Clintons and the rest of the Democrats is because they take money from oil companies or insurance companies or whatever, and they craft policy to benefit them and screw
True.
you and everybody
And
else.
all
because
Bernie wants to do is take all the money from the people who worked hard all their lives to earn it, and he wants to take that and redistribute the wealth, which is totally wrong. It will kill.
He's Robin
capitalism.
Hood. He's Robin Hood, is what it is.
Yeah, well,
that's what it is. Rob from the
Robin
rich,
Hood
give
was
to
a
the
thief
poor.
in the Sherwood Forest. They went after him.
Robin
Yeah.
Hood was very popular among the people in Sherwood Forest. I'll have
Some
you,
of the people,
I'll have
yeah,
you
not
know.
all the
Yeah,
people.
not against the King of England, who was corrupt and greedy and made all of his money. They didn't like him too much. But here's the thing, man. We have such a disgusting wealth disparity in this country. There's so many people who ridiculous amounts of wealth, and so many people who have not. An average American makes $30,000 a year or less. The
average salary is about $56,000 a year.
The average
a
salary is not the same thing. Not everybody has a salary. I don't have a salary. I make $5 an hour, and a lot of the and the most of the country they don't. They're living paycheck to paycheck.
I'm Social
and they're not
Security.
pulling it
I
right.
get $1,400 a month. Where's my cut?
I wish you got
Is
more.
Bernie going to help me? No.
He might give you a raise. He probably would.
Another 2%.
I think
Let him-
I
write
think
him a
Bernie
letter.
can relate to you, right?
Yeah.
You guys are.
Yeah. And now
You guys
the,
are from the same
the
era.
socialism question. What does that mean?
Socialism and what he's trying to do. We've been fighting as a country socialism all around the world for
Like we
millennia.
fight firefighters and police offices. We don't like that.
Do I like them? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
those are
My
socialist.
son is
Those are
social
firefighter.
socialist,
constructs.
man. Those are socialist programs.
Right, they're social
Police,
constructs.
firefighters.
How do you figure there's something?
Because we, the people, pool our money together
Right.
as a form of taxes to pay for this thing that is responsible for the general
But
welfare.
that's for everybody's
Exactly.
good. It's for everybody's
Exactly.
good. Taking from the
Everybody's
rich
good.
and giving it away is not for everybody's good.